stream. I'm testing out new software to see if this works for me or not. I've sort of scrapped StreamYard, so I'm going to look to see if this one works. This is Rumble live streaming. I'm hearing a wee bit of back chat there from myself. Let me just turn this off. So yes, if you're watching this after the fact, make sure to give this a like, share to your friend. If you're watching this on Twitter, X, make sure to give it a rumble or give it a like. If you're watching this in Rumble, give it a rumble. This is new software, so this is the test stream. I've got one scheduled for about 7 o'clock. This here, I just want to see how it works. This is new software that I'm using here with the Rumble app itself. Streaming live on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter at the exact same time. So I want to see how this goes. I can still bring on guests. I can still bring on people onto the screen. But most importantly, I can get my Rumble audience on here, because every time I go live, there is... I can't bring them on. Is that it away now? Hello? So this is coming from my phone, which is really strange. Let me see if that is that it gone. Why is there... If you can hear that, there's like a back chat on that. So yeah, this is just if this doesn't work, I'm going to... Is that it away now? That's it away now. Thank God. Right, so that's it. Ready to rumble. I want to see how this goes. I want to see how this Rumble live chat goes. This Rumble software goes, because apparently it's free. Anybody can use it, and I can get my Rumble audience engaged. As I can see already in Rumble, I've got a few on Rumble coming in, which is good, which is fantastic. But we're going to be speaking about the DROGHEDA protest today, and very, very important protest. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, there was nobody at it." I seen and had video footage sent to me. There was a lot of people at it. Yes, could there have been more? Probably, but there was enough people to make noise. And we're going to react to a few videos from Michael O'Keefe's X account. He's shared it all on his X account, so make sure whatever footage I use today, make sure you head over and follow them. I want to make sure that this is working fine, that you can all hear me fine. Can anybody tell me? I want to see if the chat's working. If the chat's working okay. If anybody's watching this, just comment just to let me know, so I know that the chat's working fine. And the other one, I was using StreamYard, was going to bring on guests, and I actually might do that now. If anybody wants to come on. So manage participants, copy link. Wow, you can have 9 people on the screen for free. That's actually pretty cool. If anybody's watching this that does live streams, Rumble has their own streaming software, which is 100% free. That's brilliant. Right. So I've got this video for you, so I want you to watch. We're going to go through a few videos today. Let me just share this to the screen for you. If I can get this to work. There we go. That's pretty good. Thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. I can see the wee YouTube symbol there, so you're coming from YouTube. There's a few people watching on X, and there's a few people watching on Rumble. That's good. Regardless where you're watching, just throw a comment to make sure it's working fine and all. As I say, this is brand new. I just wanted to test it to make sure it was working. It was working good. So here we go. Let's see. And if this doesn't work out, I've got that other live stream that I can do later on. I'm more comfortable with StreamYard. So here we go. So there was a few people at this today. There's a few things we're going to be going through today. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Saladin, hope you're keeping well, mate. We're going to listen to this lady speak because I think it's very important. And let me know if you can hear her speak, because I need to know. if this is working good for me.
Darla Crescent in Clears Park and Bill Knightley had cattle there. And they were a very staunch Irish family and a good Catholic family as well, I have to say. But I'm very hurt, I'm very sad, I'm very disappointed at the way the country is going and the way people are allowed to walk in here without passports or any identification and no checks, no vetting to see if they have a criminal record. I was in West Street yesterday and actually reported this to the Gardaí. I was sitting in my car and I was over and back to town and there were two North African men sitting on tables outside where Swear's shop used to be in the TSB, and one of them was holding his crotch. This is in front of everybody. There was young teenagers passing by and they were leering at them. They had the two phones out and it was absolutely disgusting. Now, I didn't approach them myself because I didn't really know if they'd be violent or anything like that. And I'm an elderly woman, I'm not young anymore. And I'm a grandmother. And when I rang the guards, I spoke to a guard and she put me through to another number and she said they've no resources, but I see plenty of resources here today. And they said they'd send a car and I said, can I not walk over to West Street, it's only around the corner.
So that's, I don't know if you could hear that okay? Did you hear that lady speaking there? So that's one thing that stands out to me. If you've heard that, I want to make sure that you've heard that lady speaking before I speak about this. One thing that's told to me is that Ireland doesn't have resources. We're told that north and south, it doesn't make a difference. England's told that too. We don't have the resources to fight against this, right? Or we don't have the resources. But if you go to any of these protests, the level of policing that's at these protests is second to none. It's actually quite scary. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's because a riot could pop off. Okay. But the resources are there. The cops are there to be rang. What I've been told by people in Ireland is that they get attacked, they get mugged, something happens to them, and it doesn't even matter if it's an immigrant or a native. The police don't take them serious. The police aren't taking any of the people serious. Why is that? Why is the Gardaí so against the native people? And I have to really state this, and I have to go back to this again, that during 1940s Germany, there was good people, very good people, that joined the Nazis, that thought they were doing good for the world, but they ended up doing terrible, terrible things because their brains were warped. And that's what I seen from the Gardaí. People that were eager to hurt their fellow Irishman or woman, hurt a fellow man or woman because they felt it was their duty and this was the enemy. Right now, left-wing politics in Ireland has been infiltrated by Nazism. There's no getting away from that. I've looked into it. I've seen what it is. The hate and the division that is being pushed within these globalists, like Leo Varadkar, the useful idiot that he is. These people are being used to push a form of Nazism. If you look at Hitler and you look at what these people stand for, that's exactly what they are. And the irony of it is they are saying everybody else is a Nazi. It's pure evil what you're seeing. That's why you've got Gardaí frothing at the mouth. I seen it in Dublin. We're frothing at the mouth to have a good go at the local residents. Even just anybody at the protests. I know, we're going to watch a few videos today. That lady's right to a certain degree. The only pushback I would have is in regards to the whole immigration thing and refugee thing is that real racism does thrive in this, where you get idiots thinking that anybody of a different skin color is going to hurt them. That's not what we're talking about here. Immigration's good for your country. Every country needs immigration. Ireland doesn't have a vetting process, however. Ireland needs a vetting process. Without a vetting process, anybody that's bad can come in, regardless of your color. Most good people that come into Ireland are here for a good cause, regardless of their skin color. But you do have this section of absolute thick, moronic idiots that think that anybody that isn't their color is going to cause damage. I mean, you can't be siding with those people either. They are thick. They don't have a brain cell in their head. I don't want them anywhere near me. And there is those people, but that's a very, very, very tiny, small minority of people that actually think that way. What the Irish people want is a vetting process. Right now, we're not getting that. We're not getting that. We're not getting that. The people in England aren't getting that. You can just go over to England in a dinghy boat. The people in America aren't getting that. So why is this happening at the exact same time? These are my questions. It's happening at the exact same time because it is a plan. This is what you're seeing unfolding here is a plan. This is all a plan. And there's good people in the middle. Immigration's been happening for a very long time. Ireland's been helping people for years, for the past 20 years with refugees and asylum seekers. It's been 100% fine. But then there was a stage where people woke up and realized, why don't we have a vetting process? Why is there 150 plus jihadists residing in Ireland? Why is our government allowing this? And then we hear Leo Varadkar speak whenever he was a student. And then we go, that's why it's happening, because he told us what he was going to do and everybody voted for him anyway. So at least the general public has wakened up to what's actually going on here. It's just ironic the far left are advocating for this, because for me personally, it's like, if you're the far left, why would you advocate, even the left wings, why would you advocate for this? Because once implemented, everything that you fought for is going to be abolished. Everything that the left in Ireland has worked for is going to be abolished within about 6 minutes if they allow this to continue. It's absolutely crazy. It's like, people don't realize what's down the road here. And this is coming from the tarantula and the spider web of Europe. They're decimating countries. They're destroying countries actively as we speak. Look what's happening in France. Look what's happening in Germany. Look what's happening. England's gone, guys. England doesn't exist anymore. England is gone. I don't know what the English can do, because even look at their own parties that represent them, like Reform UK, are established, controlled opposition parties. If there's any political parties out there that are saying we're for net zero migration, what that means is one in, one out. Reform UK are talking about bringing in 500,000 North Africans, but they're apparently for the people. They're not for the people. It's an established brand. Nigel Farage and that other idiot, they are controlled opposition. True nationalism, being a true patriot, does not mean being racist, does not mean being against immigration, does not mean that. It means that you're for the people first. Reform UK in England is controlled opposition. And my biggest fear for Ireland is this happening here? And I suppose that will lead me on to the next thing that I want to speak about. Will I join a political party over here or run for, I don't know, a local candidate in my area? And I want to speak about that now. I'll take this off if I can figure out what I'm doing. So, no, I won't be running for any local political parties, for the simple reason is my best work, I feel, going into the future now, because I've only been at this for a couple of weeks. Well, I've been speaking about what's going on in Ireland for the past 2 years. Nobody's been listening, though. But solid speaking about this here for the past 2 weeks to a month. And I'm not going to be running for any political parties, for the simple reason my best work is keeping an eye on what all the political parties are doing, the right-leaning ones and the left-leaning ones. If you connect yourself to a political party, you connect yourself to an idea. If you connect yourself to an idea, you can't deviate from that. You can't even say that you're wrong. I'm seeing faults within all of these. As I've just said, Reform UK is an established, ran, controlled opposition English organisation that the establishment has placed to siphon all votes into a dead end, the right-wing votes into a dead end, while still implementing the plan of repopulation in Ireland. That's what they are. Now, everybody's going to vote for them, and they're just basically voting for the same things that you'd be voting with all the rest of the parties. Now, I do believe the Irish Freedom Party are good people. The Irish Nationalist Party, good people. They've got their baseline set and what they need to do. Fantastic. I'll advocate for them. I'll promote them as much as I can. But until I see a party that's grounded and hasn't taken that European money, because you can have the Irish Freedom Parties, you can have the Irish Nationalist Parties, but it's only when they see that European money will you know if they're for Ireland. It's very hard for a man to turn down 100,000 euro, 500,000 euro, €1 million. Just word things this way and we'll do it this way. Selfless people aren't really in politics. Do you know what I mean? They're not really in politics. So I need to see, I'm only 36. I need to see the political landscape of Ireland flourish first to see what they're doing. And I might think about doing something like that. But right now, there's a lot to expose. There's a communist agenda in Ireland that needs to be eradicated and needs to be exposed. There's the Antifa thing, the NGOs that are paying these people. There's lots of different things going on in Ireland. There's the farmers thing that I really want to dive into because I'm speaking to a lot of farmers. I grew up on a farm. Essentially, at heart, I'm a farmer, even though I haven't done it for years. They're decimating the farmers at the minute, absolutely destroying the farmers. So I want to expose that. I can't do that connected to a political party when I'm worried about what I look like and what suit that I need to buy, and I have to speak nicely for this, and I need to destroy Leo Varadkar. It'd be easy to destroy Leo Varadkar. It would be easy. That man takes no debates with anybody. He gaslights women that tries to, come with facts. You shouldn't even be asking those questions. You're far right myth. You're a racist. That's the type of words he uses. You could annihilate that man in any type of a debate. I'm just waiting for it to happen. But it's not the Leo Varadkars that you have to watch out for. He's already been exposed for what he is. It's the ones that are up and coming that could have the power in the future, like the Irish Freedom Parties, who I think are great, by the way. We're going to react to one of the things that one of the speeches that their leader said. Fantastic, very, very good words. Words mean absolutely nothing, though. Taking action means something. For instance, like the Antifa thing. I went down to Dublin. I could have easily sat with the thousands of nationalist protesters and just sat with everybody that agreed with me. But it didn't. You have to separate from the pack. You have to go into any enemy territory. You have to expose them for what they are. Will the nationalist parties in Ireland, the real nationalist parties, not the fraudulent ones, and the Irish Freedom Party, will they separate from the pack, go into enemy territory, expose them for who they are? That's what you want to be seeing here. Proper exposure of what's really going on in Ireland. And not to mention, what's Ireland doing giving 100 million to the Hillary Clinton Foundation? And I don't think it went to all of it went to the Hillary Clinton Foundation, but a lot of it did. I'm reading up on that. I was listening to your guy Val Martin, and I went in and I had a wee look, and he was right. There was things going on there. What's Ireland got to do with Hillary Clinton? Oh, that's right. Possibly could be something to do with the hotels that you're filling up. Do you know the people are saying that they're not just asylum seekers or refugees, but there's little ones going in there and they're not being seen again. Maybe it's got something to do with that. These are the things. This is the corruption that goes on in Ireland. Why is 100 million being given by the Irish taxpayer to the Hillary Clinton Foundation and to the Democratic Party in the United States of America? I want you to work that out yourselves. I really want you to use your scone and think to yourselves, right, what is going on here? What is going on here? I'm just looking at the chat here. The chat doesn't update. Apologies about that. The chat doesn't update. I didn't realize that. Think about that. And then you have hotels in Drogheda that hold 500 people or so. We're going to get into it in a little minute. That they're going to not be for the public. They're going to fill them up with refugees. I say refugees other people say it's human trafficking. And then you think to yourself, why has the Irish government and the Irish parties donated 100 million to the Democratic Party in the United States of America, especially the Hillary Clinton Foundation? But it's been spread out throughout the Democratic parties. Why would they do that? Put two and two together. What are they accused of? Look at Haiti. Look what's going on there. Look at the hotel. Look at the southern border in Texas. This is all connected, folks. Do you think just because you come from the little island of Ireland that this doesn't happen here? This is a hub. I know things that I can't say here. I know things, and there's going to be people watching this after the fact. There's going to be people watching this now, and they're going to be going, they know what I'm talking about. But there's places in Ireland right now holding people. That's all I can really say on that. And it's all linked in with left-leaning politics that have been infiltrated by Nazism. You just need to know that left-leaning politicians right now are singing off the song sheets, the same song sheets that the Nazis sang from early, mid-1930s, when Hitler was rising up through the ranks. That's what's happening, and that needs to be stopped. All type of radicalism needs to be stopped, whether it be right-leaning radicalism or left-leaning radicalism, because that's where things get tricky. I'm being serious here. That I'm watching and I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's sketchy, folks. It's very, very sketchy, and it's on. Just always think to yourself, why would the Gardaí want to antagonize us into a situation where we commit a crime and they arrest us, but we didn't really commit a crime? Why is their Gardaí following us? Why are they doing this? Why are they looking at us? And why do they have all these bad names for us? Because they're taught to hate you. The backroom talk, these are just scumbags. These are just smicks. These are just knackers. Don't worry about them. They don't represent Ireland. But actually, it's the majority of Ireland that thinks like this. And there's people living in their house afraid. They don't want to go to the marches because they don't want to be seen. That isn't right. That's the start. That is Nazism. And we need to be very, very careful for the future. So I'm just going to have a look at the chat here. Ireland first too, 100%. 100%, I agree. Every country, the government of that country needs to put their residents first. If they're not doing that, then there's a severe issue. I can't. I think that's how you say your name. Man, is that how you say your name? I can't even speak about that because that's what I got my last channel taken away for. What you've just said there about the agenda, I can't even speak about that. It's crazy. It's Catherine O'Connell, UN Agenda 2130. Right. See that? I would say we're probably 3/4 of the way there with that one. I'm not. That's a thing that's been exposed. Joe, that's been exposed. There's Bobby Crush. Bobby Crush came in the last time and said unsubbed. I thought, did you not unsub the last time, mate? Big up the Bobby. Everybody, give some love to Bobby, as if he's coming in here, as if I'm some newcomer that. Ah, my God. See you, Bobby. See you. He said it again. Bobby, do you need some love, my friend? Come here and let me give you a hug. Bobby, I would actually have to say, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, I can't share your comments to the screen. I would say that you're a little bit thick. I say you probably are the type of geezer that will only take advice from somebody if they only know like 15 words in their vocabulary. What I'm trying to say to you right now, and the information I'm giving to you, and you don't have to take it or leave it. I don't care. You're only one person. It doesn't matter to me. But to the people like Bobby, who, because the last time he had a bit of a comment saying I was weak when what it was saying, because it says that I'm not anti-immigration. If you're anti-immigration, you're thick, you're stupid. Every country needs immigration. Russia has immigration. America has immigration. Australia has immigration. That's not what we're talking about. And to the people who do struggle like Bobby a little bit, they need to realize that that's how your country grows. We're not talking about legal immigration. We're not even talking about illegal immigration. We're talking about a vetting process. Ireland doesn't have a vetting process. They don't. And what does that mean? Anybody can come here. Leo Varadkar says, give that person a house, give that person some money, give that person clothes, a phone, and we don't even know who that person is. Hence why there's could be 1,000, but there is at least 150 jihadi terrorists residing in Ireland. That's how that's possible. Because Ireland doesn't have a vetting process, and people do struggle with that. People don't understand that every country needs immigration. Without immigration, you will regress back into the dark ages. You need immigration. If you don't have immigration, your country will regress. Every country, the Irish people immigrate. We're not talking about immigration. We're not even talking about refugees. If I had any power, I would put a cap on the amount of refugees that would take. That's what I would do. There would be a cap on that. And I would be asking questions to Europe why they're allowing these things to happen, these countries to create refugees. They never call out the Americans for creating the wars, by the way. And I would say there needs to be a vetting process. If you're going to come into Ireland, if you're a paedophile, you're not getting in. If you're a rapist, you're not getting in. If you're a criminal, you're not getting in. And even if you're suspected of terrorism, I don't even care if it's a conviction or not. If you're suspected of terrorism, you're not getting in. Question for terrorism, you're not getting in. And it applies the same for rape or pedophilia. If you've been questioned more than once for pedophilia or rape, you're not getting in, because that I'm taking a risk allowing you into this country, because you could harm not just the native people of this country, but another person that we've allowed in, who's came in here legally or via the refugee thing, or looking for asylum, that has been vetted and is 100% fine. If you don't have a passport, you're not getting in. If you don't have any type of identification, you're not getting in. That's where I stand on things, and that's a good, solid. With that, you're going to get economic growth through proper immigration. You're still going to help refugees and asylum seekers, but you're putting the native people first. That isn't a lot to ask for. So you would question why, even though that isn't a lot to ask for, why has Leo Varadkar called anybody saying that far right? Because he wants to make the abnormal normal. He wants open borders. That's what Europe is. Complete open borders, where anybody can travel anywhere. It's basically a hellhole. They're asking you to live in a hellhole. This isn't the United States of America, where somebody can just travel from New York to California and they are a United States citizen. They are all basically the same people, regardless of their color. They understand the law of the land. Well, most of them do anyway. In Europe, there's so many different cultures. But if you get somebody traveling from this end to this end, it's like a different world, where you can travel from California to New York, and it's okay. The scenery is different, but it's basically all the same. Do you know what I mean? And they understand the same law. Okay, there's different state laws, I get that, but realistically though, and that's how I feel about it. That's, New York's given off about this. They're allowing droves of young men coming in from South America, who are actually from the Middle East, by the way. A lot of them are jihadists, and they're allowing them in through the southern border, and they're filtering up into New York, and New York's feeling the brunt of this now. Bobby Crush has 24 hours to consider his decision. Big up, Bobby. There's nothing wrong with Bobby. There's Scotch Egg. Hope you're well. Yes, so I don't like how this live stream started off. I was a wee bit edgy because it's new software that I'm using. But what I am going to say to you is that if things don't change in regards to the vetting process, I don't know where Ireland's going to be in 20 years' time. We could possibly be living in a completely different island than what it was before in 20 years' time. I seen the video of the protest, in Drogheda prior to all of this. It was like a Black Lives Matter protest, and they were running up the street masked up with what looked like weapons and everything. That was deemed okay. This isn't Ireland. Like, what's going on here? Not just Ireland. What's happening to the West? The West is actively crumbling around us, and this has got nothing to do with refugees or immigration. We've always had refugees and immigration for the most part for the good 20 years now. We've helped a lot of people. There's a lot of decent, good refugees and immigrants that come to this country and fit into society. But why is the government siding with a certain group or a certain ideology? It's not about the race, it's not about the religion, it's about the ideology. As I say, there's ginger white people that have this ideology that I detest. Why are they? I'm not saying that Sharia law is going to come in, but if we keep allowing this, in 20 years' time, they're going to be advocating for this. Just look at London if you want proof. Somebody said to me that they're not advocating for Sharia law in London. There's literal places with stickers saying this is a Sharia law zone. Okay, by the law of the land, they can't actually impose that. But under Sharia, if you're a true believer in Sharia, you will not go to the other law. So there could be women in parts of London that are being beat, that are being raped, that are uh, that agree with no age of consent, men marrying kids, but because they agree with Sharia and they've been indoctrinated into Sharia, that they're not going to go to the local police. And then when they do go to the local police, it's a two-tier policing system. They have the sort of the Muslim police. That will that go to the top? Will they take that serious? Or have they been indoctrinated into Sharia too? So yeah, there's the law of the land, but under Sharia, you will stay silent. That's the brotherhood in Sharia is second to none, and they won't whistleblow on themselves. So all this stuff about there's no Sharia law in London, I beg to differ. Let's disagree on that one. And the thing about it is, this isn't. People say, well, yeah, that's racism. That's bad. You shouldn't be saying that. That's got nothing to do with somebody's race. This has got nothing to do with race. Whatever the color of your skin is, whatever your religion is, 100% fine. Welcome. But when it comes to these radical ideologies, regardless of your skin color, that's what I'm against. And as I say, there's ginger white people that hold this ideology. And I detest them too. So this has got nothing to do with race or religion. There's some very good people, a lot of very good people in Islam. There's a lot, but they can't whistleblow because they're afraid. We have yeah, that's what I'm saying, Maria. But you come from the Midlands in England, don't you? Or wherever. Maybe I'm wrong about that. That's what I'm saying. Ireland's been multicultural for a while. We've accepted multiculturalism. This isn't multiculturalism. This is actually, it's went so multicultural that one culture from that multicultural thing that we've done is trying to basically wipe out multiculturalism and say, no, this is us. This is what we own now. We can't allow that, especially with the ideology. My biggest fear is our kids, me not being here, me dying or something, and my son, my kids having to live in a world where this shit's going on. That's why a lot of people, like, from the West aren't having kids, because they don't want to bring kids into this hellhole. While on the other side of things, there's like 4 kids being born per one of our children being born. Do you know what I mean? So they're outbreeding us too, because we're afraid to have kids to bring them up in this society. Right, I'll share this to. I'll share the screen here again. I'm going to. Let me just trying to still figure this out. There we go. There we go. I'm still trying to get used to this, so apologies. Just on a side note, they do hate Christianity. It seems like it. They do hate Christianity, but you know who else who hates? Do you know who else hates Christianity? Jewish people. They hate Christianity too. As I said, I know somebody in New York that gets spat at all the time because they're a Christian, and his missus gets spat at in the streets by Hasidic Jews because she is out running in like running gear. It's not just coming from the Islamic community. Actually, a lot of Muslims have backed Christianity because they also believe in Jesus, but they think that he's just a prophet. Hasidic Jews in New York hate Christians. They hate anybody that isn't Jewish and like them. You can't even go into some areas. Well, you can, but I mean, a lot of people just avoid them because if you're not covered up or whatnot, they'll spit at you. So yeah, you know, I have to say that too. So let me just head over to X here. So if you want to head over and follow Michael O'Keefe on X, that's his little handle there. You can see right there. Fair play to the Guardian Drogheda today. Let's hear what they have to say.
Right, the imaginary far right.
The day went well.
Thanks very much.
Well.
It's going great. Can I just say something to you? I'm much. My lads and girls.
How are you?
How do you feel how the day went, guys?
The far right, the imaginary far right.
The day went well.
Thanks very much.
Well. It's going great. Can I just say something to you? I'm really proud of you. Tell the head of the GRI for not inviting Drew Harris to his local meeting. That was brilliant.
That's a fantastic message. Very timely.
Yeah.
So the last time, whenever I was in Dublin, the Gardaí were pretty hostile to me, like, and I don't know if it's just because of my accent, but they were hostile to me. As I say, they followed me up the road. So the Gardaí there seem to be 100% fine. Fair play to them. Fair play to them. You have to give credit where credit's due. If they were sound, they were sound. You know, so fair play. It's good to see. So this is locals in Drogheda are not happy about the 500 foreign men being planted in the community. So let's have a listen to this.
Up here today. Another one. It's just an evening on TV3 when a local politician stood up and told everybody, "Don't turn up here today. Don't turn up here today." In other words, let everybody walk over us. Let everyone walk over us. What? Listen, we were more than fair and more than open. We took in refugees. We looked after people. Far right, the only far right is above the Dublin, above in Dáil. They're the only ones that's far right. And they're the only ones at the moment that's coming out. We got an international security breach at Dublin Airport. An international security breach. Where you can get on a plane somewhere else and arrive at Dublin Airport with their passport. Did anyone ever hear of it? No. And we're listening then to what he called it, Farage telling us, oh, we fingerprint them and we put them into what? And then what? Where does it go to? Nobody knows. They don't know how to. I'll give you this short instance there.
Well, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? And he's right. He's 100% right. And, you know, think about that, right? I want you to think about that. You can hear that all right, can't you? You can hear that all right. This chat doesn't update. Sorry if I missed any comments there. So, look, he's 100% right. Ireland accepts the refugees. We accept the immigrants. We've accepted this for so long, and we still will. We're still willing to accept that. This isn't about immigration or helping refugees. This is about Leo Varadkar and his men that he's bringing in at all hours of the morning. We've all seen the videos. We've all been there. I know somebody who's very, very active in Dublin who follows these people before he goes to work in the morning, who sees them coming off the buses at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're all fighting fit men, not one child or woman among them. None of them know a word of English, and they're all from Africa. And they're all coming from heavy, heavy Islamic areas. Now, do we have a problem with Muslims? Definitely not. The Muslim community is very welcome. Do we have a problem with Christians? The Christian community is very welcome. Hindus, all of them, Buddhists. But there is a certain faction of men that are coming in armed with a dangerous radical ideology. And they can come in here without a passport or identification. Now, anybody that's on the left, you have to realize that that's bad for your country, because you don't know who you're allowing in. And it's just, I have to quote somebody from the United States here. It was an advocate for asylum seekers. She was for open borders, and she was raped by one of these people, and she didn't go to the police because she didn't want to cause civil unrest. So what you've got is you've got people coming into countries, America, England, Ireland. They're not used to this. You're bound to have seen the video of the man whacking off in the taxi, and the woman had to jump out of the taxi because where he comes from, women are covered. So he doesn't know what it's like to be around all these beautiful women. That's a complete culture shock. And to say that you're considered far right, that's just talking about biological facts. If you put me in a room for 15 years and I don't see a woman, and I walk out and I see beautiful women everywhere, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to hurt anybody. But that he's whacking off in the back of a taxi because he doesn't know the culture. He doesn't have a clue what's going on. Do you know what I mean? So you're hurting the population of Ireland, everybody that lives here. Just speak to the Brazilians. Talk to the Brazilians in Dublin. I had a conversation with a Brazilian in Dublin that spoke about this. And they're afraid. The Brazilians, the Hungarians, the Polish, they're saying, what are you doing here? This is getting a bit radical here. Look at France. France is Paris. It doesn't look like Paris anymore. It's absolutely destroyed because of the ideology. It's nothing to do with the color of anybody's skin or their religion. It's the ideology. And there certain ideologies in Christianity that are malignant and that can spread and cause a poison. Yes, but we get rid of that. We got rid of that. Do you know what I mean? So Ireland needs to do something here. And we don't accept being called racist and far right for stating facts. We're being called far right by the far left. So we can establish that now that Leo Varadkar is far left. We know that he's far left, right? And because he's far left, anything away from the far left, even a normal point of view, is going to be far right to him. That's why he gaslights people. That's why he tells people that they're lying to them. That they're liars, because he actually is far left. Is there far right in Ireland? Of course there's far right groups everywhere, even in San Francisco and Brighton. But Ireland actively right now is being ran by the far left. I've seen that, Paddy. I've seen that. She got thrown off a bus, and she was a pregnant lady, and she was also a refugee. So I got a little bit of context that there was a pregnant lady that was thrown off a bus in Paris by an immigrant from Africa somewhere. And he just grabbed her, threw her off, and I don't know if she lost the baby, but she was a refugee. She was from the Middle East. They have no respect, literally zero respect, because where they come from, it's the ideology. Women don't have rights. Get off the bus. I'm a man. You do as I say. That's the way they think. It's disgusting, man. I'm sickened that we'll have leaders like Leo Varadkar allowing this into our country. All that needs to be is a vetting process. If you're not going to start off with, you're not getting in without a passport. That's going to cut about 50% of the radicals coming in, because they're going to need a passport. Then implement a vetting process. If you've got any criminal activity whatsoever, you're not getting in. Simple. And that's going to cut another 25% of them. Then you've got 25% that are decent, good human beings that contribute to society, and they're brilliant, and you want to live around them, but they don't want that. Why is that? Think about that. Why would they not want that? So we'll move on here. Sorry about the professionalism of this live stream, by the way. It didn't start off very professional. I'm used to StreamYard, so apologies about that. Right. So this is a guy, Michael O'Keefe posted this, Malachi Steenson. Let's hear what he has to say. This is a 10-minute video now.
In Dublin. Thanks, Aaron.
I love you, Malachi.
It's great to see so many people here today. 2 weeks ago, we had a huge rally in Dublin on the bank holiday when we marched from the Garden of Remembrance to the Customs House. And I want to again put on the record what happened on that day. The woke left organised a protest to attack our march. We had a different route for our march. We weren't going down O'Connell Street. But Drew Harris directed his officers on the ground to bring our march and kettle it down O'Connell Street in order that both the police and the left could attack us. Thanks to the bravery of our stewards who made a line between the riot squad and...
That's what they done in Dublin. I seen that happening in Dublin. Like, I actually seen the police, like, sort of, they were the hostile ones. The nationalist protest was fine. Even to a certain degree, the other protesters, the Antifa protesters, they just wanted to protest. But the only hostilities I seen came from the Gardaí in Dublin.
And Paul Murphy's brigade. We prevented violence on the streets, which is what the Gardaí wanted, and the Department of Justice. It's great to see so many Gardaí here today, but perhaps their attention will be better served to looking for the 22 children who Tulsa lost in January alone. Never mind the hundreds of children they lost last year. But those children don't matter. Those of you who remember the children's referendum when we were told, put children first. The children in this country, and it doesn't matter who they are, will be put last. Just as in a couple of weeks on the 8th of March, they want to put mothers last and take them out of the Constitution. On the 8th of March, we have the first opportunity to say to the political and NGO class in this country, stop. We are ending this. We are rejecting any referendums you bring to the people. We are the risen people. I listened the other day to some of your local politicians in this area when the news came out that this hotel was to be shut down and 500, God knows who from God knows where, would be coming.
I have to speak on what he said there. I'm listening to that man. He's very powerful, that man, isn't he? That's a very powerful man there, the way he speaks. I wanna get him on sometime and have a good conversation with him. So they're literally they're attacking women under the alias of helping women. This is why Ireland should vote no in this referendum. Because I was looking into it, I thought it was just like redefining what a woman's role is. But they're basically saying they will basically make it law that anybody can class themselves as a woman legally, and this they will in the long game in this here is that they're going to recognize polygamy and monogamy and all these things. Like, you could have 20 people looking after one child, registered parents to one child. And then what you can do there is a refugee can say, well, there's 20 parents to this one child. They can bring all their family over and be under that family unit. That, you know, the way the government recognizes a mum and dad as parents, they're trying to change that. Now, to anybody that's left-leaning, and I've got a few people, you know who yous are, and I'm speaking to yous, and I respect yous, and yous be watching this here, and yous have followed my channel for the past 2 years, my other channel before it got taken down. Why do you think they're doing that? That's a clear attack on the family, and that is an attack on women. That's actually inhibiting women's rights. There was nothing in the Constitution to say that a woman's role was in the kitchen or at home. So why are they trying to change? Why are they doing that? Why are they trying to change that? Think about that. They're trying to change society as we know it. They want to change the Constitution fully. Ronan Solway says that's where MAPS sneaks in. Also, 100%. There's a lot of room here for child exploitation under the Constitution change. And it's very, very important that the Irish people vote no on this. As I say, they're using the umbrella as this is saving women, but it's not. It's not. This is actually suppressing women, because women should have not separate rights to men, but they should have a certain layer of protection. Like, I can't go up to you, right? I can't go up to Paddy in the street, Paddy O there, or Solway in the street, or Stevie Boy Billings, my good friend that I respect dearly, and say, Stevie, I'm a woman now. I'm the same as a woman. I shouldn't be able to do that. Or I can't say, well, look, me and 5 of my friends, we're actually the parents to that little girl, and we're protected under the Constitution for me and 5 of my big hairy mates to look after that little girl as that little girl's parent. That should be a red flag. Under the Constitution change, that's not a red flag. Or a refugee or an asylum seeker or anybody, or even just anybody, can say the 20 people living in this house all come under the constitutional bracket of a family, where it would have been 2 people, a man and a woman. Now there's going to be a constitutional oversight on maybe 20 people looking after one child to a family. To me, that is tyrannical, and to me, that leads into areas of child exploitation here that they're trying to protect. I'm just saying, like, you know, we need to be really careful. And for the left-leaning people that follow me and the ones that I respect, I know you aren't far left, just like I'm not far right, and I respect you, and I get where you are coming from a lot of things, but we need to protect people here. There needs to be a layer of protection for women, and you need to see the devil in the detail in regards to what the government's doing here.
Coming to this area, every one of them told you people not to come here today. Well, you've given them your answer. It's time the political and NGO class recognise that they work for the people, not the other way around. And in June, you'll have your opportunity to give those people the answer that they deserve. Every one of those politicians talked about the loss to the economy in Drogheda. They talked about, I think it was 4.6 million will be lost. Next week, those same politicians will come back with a package of 4 million, 5 million, 10 million to try and buy off people, because it's what they've done everywhere else. This is not about the economy. This is about our nation. This is about our culture, and it's about our people. And when your local politicians tell you, oh, don't go to that march or that rally, don't stand up for your people, think about what your neighbours will think. I don't care what my neighbours think. It's far better to stand alone on the right side of history than to stand like a sheep with the rest of them. I am more concerned about what my grandchildren and great-grandchildren say and think about me when I'm gone. When they say, and they look back on history and on this period, and they ask, what did you do when this was happening to our country, when our country was being destroyed, when our country was being divided against itself? There is a real battle on in this country for the hearts and minds of the people. It's the same as the counter-revolution in 1922. But we will win this time. We lost the last time because power and money came against us. Now, none of that matters. They can take what they want. They're already taking it. It's time for everybody here and go that step forward and push this agenda that we believe in the Irish nation, that we believe in the Irish people, and that we believe that we have a duty and a moral responsibility to leave a country to our children and grandchildren in a good state of repair.
100% agree with this fella. It's not about us anymore. It's about our children and our grandchildren. If we do not do something about this, our grandchildren and our children are going to be living in a hellhole. I'm not going to lie to you. I've sort of been refraining from having more children because of this. Me and my missus have had a conversation about this, and it really pains me because I really would love a big family. I've got one son. He really deserves a brother or sister, but I'm thinking to myself, is Ireland right now the place to raise kids? Because if this goes tits up, I know there's a lot of left-leaning people that don't have kids and they don't even have to think about this. But honestly, once you have children, it doesn't matter who you are, you turn conservative. It's just, you turn right wing. You don't turn far right, or you don't turn far left. You turn right wing because you think to yourself, I need to preserve the areas where my children are, because if it isn't good for them, then I can't die happy. I need to be able to grow a big family, have lots of kids, daughters, sons, die with them all around me, and happy knowing that they're safe, that the governments are going to keep them safe from radical ideologies, whether that be right leaning or left leaning. But the government's going to do the right thing. Yeah, we've got our issues. Yeah, there's those the Brits and the we went through all that. But we need to make sure that our kids live in a safe area and live in a safe place. Right now, there's people like myself that are refraining from having more children. I want to have more kids. I would love to have 9 kids, to be honest with you. But I don't want to bring people into this world that are going to suffer, and for me not to be here to protect them. Do you know what I mean? And he's right. Everything that we're doing right now, it doesn't matter if your whole family's against you. It doesn't matter if you're isolated in this. You're doing this for a good cause. And this is the thing. They're targeting you, calling you racist and calling you a bigot and calling you far right, and you're none of those things. And to debunk them saying that to you, you've lived in a multicultural society for the past 30 years. Good 20 years now, anyway. The Republic of Ireland has always been multicultural. I remember going down when I was 4 years of age and the place was multicultural. Nobody had an issue with it, but it was the ideology. There's a dangerous, dangerous ideology. And the ironic thing about it is it's a dangerous conservative ideology coming in under Sharia and through the Islamic path. Not all Muslims, I have to really state that. A lot of them are good people. Most of them are good people. And this left-leaning shit that runs Ireland via Leo Varadkar, because he is a useful idiot working for the globalists and the elites like Klaus Schwab. And that's destroying Ireland, because they are allowing everything in under the pursuit for diversity. And that's killed businesses around the world. It's near killed Bud Light. It will rip Ireland to shreds, this pursuit for diversity. And the underlying evil is that kids will not be protected under these evil monsters. They're leaving a lot of room for child exploitations under their constitutional changes. And we need to be very careful what we allow here.
In this country, we have 33,000 NGOs who take 6.8 billion from the taxpayer every year. Roger O'Gorman made it very clear, and because he's such a stupid fool at the best of times, he says things he's not supposed to say. He came out publicly and said to them, those progressive NGOs who are not campaigning for support for the referendum need to answer why. What he actually meant and what he really said was, if those NGOs don't campaign for the referendum and don't campaign in line with government policy, you won't get your funding. And Herman talked about Q bono, who benefits. In this,
just on a side note, people, that is clear conflict of interest right there, clear corruption. You know, these NGOs are saying if you don't go in line here with what we're saying, you're not getting your funding. So there needs to be anybody that comes in the power, anybody that's listening from the Irish Freedom Party, the Irish Nationalist Party, that in the future could get a bit of power in Ireland or maybe run Ireland. There needs to be something set in place, a middle person set in place, completely unbiased, that is set up to make sure that NGOs and the government, there's not this web connection between them, that there's a severance between them. Because right now the government's holding these NGOs at ransom. You know, money speaks, and there needs to be people in there saying, look, even if that means a cap on money that's given to them, take away the incentive and you take away the corruption.
issue, as well as every other issue, all you have to do is follow the money. The hotel here is getting 14 million per year. It was only sold in October. I would suggest that the agreement with the government was in place in October before it was bought. And for some local politicians to suggest that half it could be used. I don't know anybody here that would want to go to a hotel where half it has people who are staying there for nothing, who have nothing to do all day but hang around the building. In general, males from Algeria. Who would pay to stay in a hotel like that? The management now say they're going to leave the bar open. Will anybody here go into that bar? I hope not. The businesses that are involved in this process should be quite...
I'm not going to lie to you. I would probably go to any bar that's selling Guinness at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's just me when I've got a few whiskies in me. But I get what he's saying. You know, they're saying that they're going to have half and half. Come on, like, what are we doing here? Ireland is housing so many refugees and asylum seekers. We are overdoing it, 100% overdoing it, while you've got these other rich countries, rich in oil, that aren't taking them in. They don't want anything to do with them. And they're not. We're not even calling them out. You never hear Leo Varadkar saying, well, that's Saudi Arabia's far right, isn't it? Or you never hear him, like, there's 2.5 million Palestinians in Jordan. You just don't know about that. Well, a lot of you will. There's 2.5 million Palestinians in Jordan that were there prior to the war kicking off. They're living under a dictatorship. Nobody speaks about that. But that's the next thing they'll speak about to distract you from what's really going on in the background. This is what I'm trying to say. There needs to be a severance, just like they severed the church from the state. There needs to be a severance from NGOs and the government. And the government needs to work for the people. If the government isn't for the people, the government has fallen. Right now, the Irish government is not working for the people. So then you would say that government has fallen. Yeah, so listen, that's just me. Like, I've drank in some of the nastiest places, like just for a pint of Guinness, but
caught up by all right-thinking people. Again, I want to thank IFP for organising this rally and inviting me along as an independent speaker. and we've spoken at many rallies together around the country. And in November of 2022, when they decided to put 300 or 400 asylum applicants into the ESB office building in East Wall, this campaign kicked off, and people have taken inspiration from East Wall. And there are many people here from East Wall. Indeed, there are many people who live in Drogheda and its surrounding areas who come from the East Wall area, and many of them are here today. So we said at that time that there were people coming into the country with no passports. They laughed at us. They called us liars. They admitted that 2 months later. We said that the most applicants were coming from Georgia. They denied it. Last month, they decided Georgia was a safe country. Up till 2017, almost 100% of applications for asylum from Georgia were rejected. Nothing happened in Georgia since then to make it a war zone, that people are fleeing from persecution. It's all lies. Everything this government and its NGO sector tell us is a lie. Or they tell us, as the Taoiseach did the other day, when he was asked about the €800,000 paid to bring Ukrainian pets over to Ireland, he said he didn't know about it. Well, pardon the pun, but the dogs in the street knew about it. Again,
That's mad, isn't it? They're prioritizing pets. Pets. Like, what world do we live in? Pets. They're saying that we need to bring the pets over. Okay, I get that pets, pets are connected to the family. I get that. I wouldn't want to leave my dog if there was bombs going off everywhere. I get that. But come on, what are we prioritizing here? Like, what are we doing? And once again, this is there needs to be a severance. There needs to be a severance between these NGOs, the government. There needs to be somebody in the middle. Do you know that person that you always hate, that would never speak to you? You need those horrible people in the middle that you don't know what politics they are, but you know they're going to call out anybody that's talking shite. Those people need to be in the middle of the government, the NGOs, and see these listen, I could only imagine being given millions of euro contracts, a €1 million contract or whatever it is, €20 million contract, €5 million contract to take in a load of boys that are coming from whatever country. If I'm a hotel worker, that's steady money. But what they don't realize is that once this comes to an end, which it will, I can see it, I can feel it, they will not be remembered as good people, and that business will dry up for them. So that 5 million that they accept now, or the 10 million or whatever it is, they could make quadruple that if they stand with their people here and say, look, we don't mind giving a few rooms out to you here because we understand we'll have to play our part. But we're not going to give up half our hotel. We're not going to give up our hotel just to suit the government and the NGOs. We're not going to do that. So, once again, government oversight is needed. And the Irish Freedom Party, I think they're doing a good job. They've allowed an independent man to speak, which is a good sign, because normally when you're connected to a political party, you don't really allow anybody else to come in and speak, especially on such an important day. So that's a good sign that they're willing to have people that, okay, they're not connected to the party as such, but he's an independent, and he's speaking in front of the Irish freedom flag. Do you know what I mean? So that's a good sign. I'm not going to lie to you. I like the Irish Freedom Party. I like them.
I'll just finish up now because there's other speakers. But again, thanks to everybody who's turned up here today. And remember that we are the risen people. We are on the right side of history, and we will win.
Very good message to leave it with. You're on the right side of history. That you're not racist. You need to know this if you're listening to this here. And don't turn racist either, because a lot of people that get into this here start to hate one side. Know that there's people from the Islamic community, from different countries like Africa, the Middle East, that do need help. But we're not talking about those. Leo Varadkar and his government are allowing people in that mainly don't need help, but they're being brought in for a reason under the alias of economics or whatever of Europe. But these people actually, some of them, I'm going to say, don't need help, and they're the ones that we're calling out here. Having a hotel and half that hotel housing asylum seekers or refugees is not good for a community like Drogheda. That's going to cause chaos, especially if these people come from different cultures. And you're not far right for thinking that. You're not racist for thinking that. You're not bigoted for thinking that. And you are on the right side of history. Even if you're left wing and you sit in the fence in this and you think to yourself, well, look, I get where these righties are coming with this. You need to know that you need to call out your own people on this too. Yeah, William, they seem to be dead on. I reckon the detrimental future prospects of the global agenda demand that one be responsible now. I stand now while I can, for tomorrow may be very different. That's exactly how I feel about it. That comment, William, is exactly how I feel. If I don't say something now, it's easy for me to sit and talk about the Premier League or UFC, but if we don't speak about it now, we're not going to have a future for our kids. Europe is actively destroying sovereign countries. Look what it's done to France. France is basically gone. But is it just Europe? Is that another distraction? Look at Brexit. And the United Kingdom left the EU. It's England's decimated. England's gone. England. I don't mean to say this in a bad way, and I wish it wasn't, but England basically doesn't exist anymore. It's like every country around the world has its own little province in England. England's about 5 years away from full scale being overthrown. And they're creating parties like Reform UK that aren't for the British. They're establishment controlled opposition. That's what they are. Yeah, that's like, here, I have to speak about this, right? I want to speak about something here, right? So we're being told that they need help, right? A lot of them need help. We're being told that a lot of them need help. Okay. Well, a lot of them come into countries like France, the Netherlands. They come that close. And then they come across the water and say that we're refugees and we're asylum seekers. But you just came from a country that's fine. Or you've traveled into France, traveled through different countries that are just 100% fine, that you could live there fully. But so why did you escape a war-torn country like you say you are to come into a country that's not war-torn and it is progressive? Like, a lot of them come into Portugal. Portugal's a progressive place, if anybody's been to Portugal. Why are you then traveling from Portugal out from Africa into Portugal, up into the likes of France, spreading out to Spain, Netherlands, and then coming across the water to England and Ireland? That's my question. But now we know why it's happening, because it's been told. Leo Varadkar has given them the green light to do this. And not only that, people that do have their passports are coming into France, they're coming into England, they're coming into the Netherlands, and they're saying, well, actually, you don't need a passport if you come into the Republic of Ireland. So if you have any criminal convictions for rape, pedophilia, criminality, maybe you're suspected of terrorism, maybe you're a convicted terrorist, just rip up your passport, because Ireland doesn't want it. So it begs the question, if you're already in a progressive society, a democracy, and you've already made it that far, why are you going further to get to Ireland? And why is Leo Varadkar facilitating them coming into Ireland? Because we already do our fair share of housing refugees and immigrants. We already have an immigration policy where people can come over here legally and stay, just like America and England and the rest of the world. Well, most of the world. So why is Leo Varadkar facilitating other people coming in that we don't know who they are and they don't need identification? That's a question I have. what's the purpose behind it? A lot of people say, well, it's an army. That's a theory. It's an army. They're having an army. It's NATO's men. Did you hear about the Chinese migration from South America into North America? They're taking a different route. I've done a video about that. They've got a different route where they go into North America away from the other refugees, and they're not interested in anything to do with America when they're questioned. They're actually very hostile, and they're Chinese. What's going on? So we'll go back on to. Still trying to get used to this. So this is Herman Kelly of the Irish Freedom Party speaking in Drogheda.
Man, all this stuff about self-deport. Imagine your tax man came in every month and it had at the bottom, oh, you only pay if you want to. Could you imagine it? Well, people would laugh, but that would happen. That's the scam and the story of our immigration policy at the minute. And it's run by people who clearly hate our culture. They hate our sovereignty, because only a sovereign country has clear borders and control of its borders. And do not go down the route, all this stuff about refugees welcome, or asylum seekers. Asylum seekers are only roughly 13,000 a year, or maybe even 20,000 a year. The main driver of immigration into Ireland since the last 20 years has been EU open borders and free movement and mass immigration. It's EU open borders, which is the main driver of immigration into Ireland. It's Joseph Puska, who was a Slovak Roma, who slithered into Ireland, who was allowed to remain in Ireland, who never worked a day in his life in Ireland. And this Joseph Puska murdered a beautiful Irish girl, Ashley Murphy. Under a nationalist government, Joseph Puska would never be allowed in the country. There was a case, there's so many criminal cases every week now, that they passed virtually without comment. I seen when I was looking up about the Joseph Puska. I seen another case, it was only last year, a guy down in Wexford. He was 53 and he raped and sexually assaulted a girl of 7 years of age. He was 53 years of age, another Slovak. You wouldn't believe it, this guy had murdered someone previously in another country. And yet, because of EU open borders, he was allowed to waltz into Ireland, no problem. Only a country intent on suicide, cultural and demographic suicide, would allow that to continue.
So that's the end of that clip, and he's 100% correct. And I want to speak about something here. So it's the European thing, right? So when it comes to the European thing, let me just change the layout here. When it comes to the European thing, I'll never forget whenever Ireland changed to the euro. It just for me personally, I can say this now because I know a lot of the boys down south didn't like me saying this whenever it happened. I think it ruined the place. Maybe it had benefits. I don't know. I'm not into economics, so maybe it had a lot of benefits. Maybe Ireland's progressed since then, but I just felt like it's ruined the place. You used to go down to Ireland, you can get things cheap. You can go down, you can, you didn't have to remortgage your house for a carton of milk like you have to do today. But I feel like in every shape, there's benefits to the euro. Like you do get a lot of funding. There is a lot of stuff coming from Europe, but the things that are really ruining Ireland, like these open, like you don't need to have open door policy just because you're a member of Europe. You can still have a strong vetting process. Like there's a 7-year-old girl that happened to. That man already murdered somebody in another country. He was allowed to come in here because Ireland has no vetting process. Think about that. If Ireland had a vetting process and maybe it's there's people in Ireland that are rapists and pedos and all those things, right? So we've got an issue. Every country has its issue with that anyway. Just look at the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was rife with it. That's why Catholics called out the Catholic Church for what happened. You're not really seeing that in Islam under Sharia. You're not seeing people under Sharia whistle blow on Sharia because they're afraid to. At least the Catholics came out and said, look, see those priests, they're demonic creatures and we want nothing to do with them. And they all need to be eradicated from society. We're able to do that in a free society, you see. But there's people coming into the country with a criminal past that can come in here, no identification. The government puts them up and then they commit crimes because Ireland's seen as a soft touch. But where that leads to is that we're tarring everybody with the same brush. So what my biggest fear is a good immigrant, a good refugee, somebody who's here to embrace Ireland, to experience Ireland, being targeted off the back of this. And they're saying, hold on, lads, I'm here just for a better life and to be one of yous. No, you're one of them. That's what we can't have. We can't have that either. That's my biggest fear, is people don't attack anybody. Don't attack anybody anyway. Always go to the cops, but you need to have verified evidence that somebody's done something. Because there's a lot of good people that come into this country just legally, illegally, that are just here for a better life. So we need to be careful about that too. I don't want anybody attacked just needlessly, that haven't done anything wrong. But the government should be on top of this, because the governments are creating civil unrest, and it's coming from Europe, and it's useful idiots like Leo Varadkar that are facilitating this. He is the biggest idiot I've ever came across in my whole entire life. That man's policies is single-handedly destroying Ireland. There's no getting away from it now. He is destroying Ireland, and he needs to be voted out in a democratic way. He needs to be voted out. And my biggest fear is every time they change the constitution or they legislate something or they implement something, that's one step closer, like Justin Trudeau in Canada, to full control, where it's going to come a stage where you can't vote them out. They're going to put so many barriers in your way with these constitutional changes and these legislations and these little things that they're implementing, where it's going to come a stage in 10, 15, maybe even 5 years' time, where they're going to say, well, actually, no, you can't vote them out now. Your vote doesn't matter. With a social credit score, that person identifies with right-wing politics, so he doesn't have a say. He can't vote. You think that's a thing that's going to happen in 100 years to 200 years? That's a thing that can happen in 5 years if you keep allowing these whack jobs to run society. A lot of the people are saying, we're not against immigration, we're going to help the refugees, but there's going to be a cap and there's going to be a vetting process. Why are people allowed in to Ireland to do terrible things to children? Why are they allowed in to hurt other people, to murder people? We have a problem with that as it is with the native people. So why are we importing more? Fix the problem now. Don't import more problems. And the only way that you can do that is with a heavy vetting process. Why is Leo Varadkar against a vetting process? Because he doesn't want them documented. Why doesn't he want them documented? Because his masters like Klaus Schwab, the WEF, the NWOs, that are all connected together with America, China, Europe, they don't want the vetting process because they want undocumented people. And why would you want undocumented people? To do your work. So if this, if they are allowed to continue with what they're doing, the next couple of years is going to look a lot different. And then you're going to see a rise in people from the left joining the right, and they're going to say, sorry, lads, we should have listened to you. And if you're saying this now, you're considered right wing. I'm not. I've seen there was a band called Kneecap that were saying Ireland's for all. Ireland isn't just for the Irish. Okay, because we've got an immigration policy. Good. Every country has an immigration policy. I agree with Kneecap. It isn't just for the Irish. It's for everybody to enjoy. We help refugees. Good. We've got asylum seekers. Good. Okay. But why can't we put a cap on that? And why do we not have a vetting process? You ask these people this question, they don't have an answer. They will reply to you, you are far right and you are a racist. That is because they're Neanderthals. They don't want to know. They're indoctrinated they're indoctrinated by the far left, by the real far left, by the way. So we'll go on. So Gavin and Val speak with local LMFM journalist in Drogheda. Watch until the end. Is that your guy Val, is it? I don't know if it's the same fella I watch.
And really the foreigners, right? And the three that got and the three were locals, right? And you're the only one that brought up phone myself. He brought her up in every interview.
You watch the news.
And you heard
about all the buildings
but the
burned
thing,
down.
I understand all that. I think if you're the
Are you
only
accusing
one,
people?
when you were interviewing the people, you're the only one that brought up phone. I think you'd be disappointed if there's no phone.
I'll be very disappointed now.
Good luck to you.
Polish people and Hungarian people over there supporting this protest. Sorry, you're a bit aggressive with your mic.
Yeah, move back a bit.
I can't pick you up on the mic. I can't talk to you.
Surely to got your mic is not that far.
Well, you've got your phone in the text.
Right, well that's
You have your
fine. What do you think? Answer the question. What do you think?
Where's that for the family?
No. What do you
Where's the family?
think?
How far did you travel tonight?
I'm coming from Dublin.
So see this condescending fella here, right? I don't know who he is. What I'm going to say is, I'm going to take credit for this here. I'm not a journalist. I don't work for a paper, right? I don't even consider myself a citizen journalist. I consider myself an idiot with a mic, an idiot with a phone. I got better footage of the real nationalist protests and what Antifa were up to than these fellas, the RTEs, the independents, the BBCs. I got more footage and more correct footage than what these fellas did. Gripped Media gets more footage. Gripped Media is not even a molecule as established as what these fellas are. And they get better footage and will always continue to get better footage because they're not state-ran media. So that lady with her phone is going to capture better footage and inform the public better than what you or RTE or the Independent or the BBCs or the CNNs or whatever, even whatever all across the world will ever do. So they're the real journalists, even though they're not established, they didn't go to university. I've had massive conversations and massive arguments with family members when they were saying, why don't you just go and do a journalistic degree or something? Fuck the journalistic degree. That's where you get corrupted. Because when you go to be taught in journalism, yes, they talk about being unbiased and all the rest, but it's once you work for an organization, you are corrupted. You're told not to speak the fucking truth. That lady's more of a journalist than this fucker will ever be, because she's willing to tell the truth. So get your fucking mic out of my face, you squirmy wee prick, and stick your mic up your hole. As a journalist, I can't even say that. If I'm connected to a political party, I can't say that. I want to be able to say that. Take your mic and stick it up your hole. How about that? Because you're not a journalist and you definitely don't have any integrity. I don't even know who this person is. This isn't directed at him. He could be a decent fella for all I know. I'm not. This isn't just directed at him. But this is at the RTEs, the state-ran medias. Yous are the same medias that backed the Nazis in 1940, that pumped out the propaganda for them. That's who yous are.
right.
Is she not allowed to travel for Dublin?
Against the Irish people. Why are you shoving the mic in my face? Against the Irish. Why are you shoving the mic? Are you racist?
Are you racist against Irish people?
You're racist against the Irish people.
You're abusing these women.
You're very aggressive.
You're very aggressive.
You need to get some training on your interview skills. You're very aggressive with your interview. You're shoving that mic in people's faces. You're very aggressive.
Are people not allowed to be concerned about their area?
Oh, believe me.
Are people not allowed to be concerned about the community?
Of course you're allowed to be concerned about the community.
So are people from Dublin not welcome down in Drogheda to be concerned about the people from Drogheda?
If you were concerned about the community, you'd be concerned that the Marsh Road is closed. You'd be concerned that shops have closed.
Are people have a right? These people look troublesome to you.
The shops are closed because they're afraid of the public. The biggest load of shite I've ever heard in my life. If I had a shop, it would be open fucking selling flags. I would. Here, 3 flags for £1 or whatever it is. 3 flags for €1. Come on, the fuck. Get your flags now. This is a prime opportunity to be selling shit. This guy obviously doesn't understand business. The amount of business that Dublin's been getting with the protests is unbelievable. Now, what he's doing is he's spinning a narrative that these protests and these things are really, really bad. The biggest pile of shite. The only people that are worried are the businesses that are getting burnt down because they're siding with the radical left and they're housing illegal immigrants. And they're taking funds from the government to house these people. That's the businesses that are worried. That's what he actually means there. Right? Now, do I agree with burning down businesses? Definitely not. But I'm not in control of what Joe Soap does here. If Joe Soap does it, he'll get punished by the law. What I'm trying to say is that that's what he means. The shops are open. I was in many shops in Dublin. I didn't get down to Drogheda today, but I've been in Drogheda many times. I spoke to the locals. I know what the crack is. The shops are open. They're not afraid of people burning out shops and businesses. They're open for business. Come on in, get your fucking raincoat for the day. It's raining outside. Half price. Fucking £1 fish, man. Come on, ladies. £1 fish. He's out in the fucking streets selling his £1 fish because the more people that are on the streets, the more business it's going to be. All those people need to drink coffees. They all need fed, and everybody's capitalizing on the back of it. The good people, anyway. The only people that are scared are the people taking the money from the government. That's what he means.
Are you saying these people look troublesome?
I didn't say it.
No, that's the comment you made.
You're very so.
Are people not allowed to be concerned about their community?
Of course they're allowed.
Yeah, so they're not happy with all these people going into the hotel. Are they not allowed to express that?
Well, on what basis?
Well, so they're worried about the community. Are they allowed to say anything? They don't want illegal migrants coming into their area.
Well, they're not illegal migrants.
They are illegal migrants.
They're legal.
They are illegal migrants.
They're legal. You know that
So if people destroy their documents, does that class as legal or illegal?
they're legal.
Does that class legal or is it illegal? So if you destroy the documents, they're legal.
They never.
Okay, you're the head chase.
So there you go. There's the face of negligence. I'm going to keep that face up for you. That's the face of negligence. So if I get any power, I'm going to change the dictionary when it comes under negligence. When I say negligence, I'm talking about journalistic negligence. That's his face is going to be underneath it, right? Of course there's legal immigrants that come into this country. Of course there's legal refugees. We're not talking about them. This person is what's wrong with Ireland. He's not recognizing that the vast majority of the people coming into the country now are ripping up their passports, which is the definition of illegal. Why are they ripping up their passports and why is that allowed? Look at this geezer. This fella here is everything that's what's wrong with the country. And he's corrupting the people sitting at home. So if you're watching the RTEs, you're watching the news, and you're watching all of that there, know that you're watching propaganda. Everything that you're watching is propaganda. Even if you're from the English side of things, you watch Hollyoaks, propaganda show, BBC propaganda, RTE propaganda. Stop corrupting your brain with this. Because it's people like these with these narratives that are corrupting you. Do you know what I mean? He's just said they're not illegal. Come on, what are we doing here? He's giving you the news. So there's his narrative. So he's always going to pump it. Even if he's met with facts that a certain demographic of people armed with a radical, dangerous ideology that's in a hotel, and they're causing a bit of bother. He's going to write the article that they are legally here to throw off the scent of what's actually going on, but the finer details is that they're actually illegal. Now, I know a lot of people say, there's a lot of people, I'm not going to say his name, but he says there's nobody illegal. And I would disagree on that. If you rip up your passport, there is a reason why you're doing that, and you're now illegal. If you've came here illegally, okay, I understand there's refugees that need to come here, impact, you call them impact. You've got impact schemes for refugees coming from war-torn countries. I'd keep that. 100%. Let's protect refugees coming from war-torn countries. 100%. Let's put a cap on that in the vetting process. So once we find out once the refugee comes in, he doesn't have any papers, we'll look after them for a while. But once we find out who they are, any criminality, suspected terrorism, rapist, pedophile, anything, you're getting put back, deported back, because you can't be in this country. And if there's an Irishman across the water, or an Irishman that has immigrated himself, and he's an illegal, or an Irish woman that's an illegal, and they're a criminal, I support them getting kicked back to Ireland too, because I would respect Italy or the Netherlands or Britain or America or South American countries or Australia to kick people out of their country that are criminals, pedophiles and rapists and so on. I would expect them to do that. But let me just bring one thing to the table for good sir here. Is the Australian government far right? Because they have a vetting process. A lot of my friends went off to Australia and done that thing over in Australia. And in Australia, you had to work in apple fields for like 6 months just to prove your worth, to prove that you were good for the economy. Come on here, like, are they far right? That's what they done to the Irish people. So the Australian government must be far right doing that to the Irish people. No, they're not. They had a heavy vetting process. You couldn't get into Australia with a criminal record. Are they far right? You couldn't get into Australia without a passport. Are they far right? No, they're not. They've done the right thing. Why is it considered far right? You're far right and a bigot and a racist if you want the vetting process. Why is that? That's the face of negligence, folks. And he is a journalist. No journalistic integrity whatsoever. That lady at the start of the video who had the phone was the real journalist, because she was willing to tell the truth. And if you're not willing to tell the truth, at least be willing to be wrong. Just looking for, I think that's the last video. So I'll go up to see if there's any more videos here. Let me just refresh this. So there doesn't seem to be any more videos. But Drogheda is trending though. Let's have a look at Drogheda trending here. So here's one for you, right? Here's one for you.
Brilliant to see. Those people concerned about the community.
So I was told that there wasn't too many people at this. Somebody said to me there wasn't too many people at this. Let's have a look to see how many people. And this was taken This was 4 hours ago.
The people in Drogheda are out today. Look at the crowd. It's brilliant to see. Just people concerned about the community. You've every right to be out here and speak out. Great to see. This is what we want to see. Peaceful protest about the safety and concerns of the communities.
So that's thousands of people there, folks. Do you know what I mean? So see all these nut jobs saying that there was nobody there. There was thousands of people there in Drogheda supporting this. This is the majority of Ireland supporting this. And maybe if the businesses were closed in Drogheda, maybe the business owners shut up shop to go and protest today. Maybe that's why the businesses weren't open. It was nothing to do with fear of the big bad far right protesting on the street, but it was because they came and protested themselves. But that would be to say that you need to have integrity to say that, and we all know that the media in Ireland and England and the Western media, even the right-leaning media like Fox News and GB News, they don't have a shred of integrity. They're all rats. Every single one of them are a pack of rats. GB News promoting Reform UK. Come on, the fuck. If there's anybody from England watching this here, don't be voting for Reform UK. Establishment controlled opposition. That's what they are. They're all working, singing from the same song sheet, people. I'll have another wee look. Well, there's the IRA trend, and what the fuck? Let's have a wee look at. I'll stay. I'll stay on Drogheda. Locals in Drogheda are not happy about 500 foreign men being. Oh, read that. We've seen that one, didn't we? Fergus. That's a lot of people there, folks.
Stand up and stand up for the ordinary people of Drogheda to be a bigot and a traitor. I can tell you that for nothing. So the sooner the elections come, when parties like IFP and others stand up and stand up for the ordinary people of Drogheda and every town around Ireland, when the people are saying, we've had enough, we don't want these here, and you better start listening to us, or we'll put you in the bin of history at the next election, and that's what we will do. So stay strong. They were calling you racist. Imagine ordinary men and women out with their children concerned because to be a bigot and a traitor. I can tell you that for nothing. So the sooner the elections come.
That's the words that they're using. They're calling you a bigot and a traitor while they're working for Europe and why they're allowing people in without any identification. Like they are the traitors. There's no getting away from that now. Like that's like going back. That's like going back to the days, the 1100s, where there was the kings of Ireland. The kings of Ireland. I know you're going way back here. Like you're going back to the kings of Ireland, and people coming in. They're going, well, what do they come in for? Do you know who they are? No, we don't have a clue who they are. What are you letting them in for? Well, because it's the right thing to do. They would fucking slaughter you. The same logic applies. Yes, you should have the freedom of movement. Yes, you should help refugees. Yes, we should help people. I'm not denying that. But they have to be vetted. That's all we're asking for here. The fact that is a push, the fact that you're being called far right and a bigot because you're asking for a vetting process is a massive indication that your government has fallen. But what I would say to anybody watching this right now is don't let them warp your brain and actually become racist. Like I'm talking about real racism, where you look at a bloke that's not the same color of skin as you and think, well, he's one of them, because they're probably not. Don't get tribal with this, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to justify their actions by people actually becoming racist and saying, well, our governments are falling, everybody that they're allowing in is bad, and then something happening in the streets and them recording that, putting that out. That's why I didn't plant your fella in Antifa. I want to speak about that, about real racism. And I think we'll end it in that there. So we've established that the media are rats, but I want to talk about real racism, what the plan, what these governments do, the left-leaning governments and the NGOs do. So don't get tribal with this. If you get tribal, then you're going to connect yourself to a group. So never look at another man or another religious group and think they're my enemy, because that's what the left wants you to do. They're divisive. They want you to be divided. The people of Ireland that are living here respect everybody, love everybody accordingly, give everybody a chance. We're not talking about everybody here. They want you to react to this. They want you to go out and harm somebody. They want you to go out and do something stupid so they can record it and put your face in the front page of the newspaper, call you far right, and this is a problem. While at the same time, them being the actual far left, implementing all these policies in the background that they'll never be getting called out on. So you need to know that. Don't fill your heart full of bitterness in this. Respect everybody. I had a conversation with a Nigerian man the other day. He was at the bus station. Great bloke. Had a bit of crack, and I was talking to him about all the troubles of Ireland, and he was saying, yeah, like I came in here illegally, and he was to say there's a few issues with a lot of stuff. He was going to Armagh, and he was telling me about his kids and stuff, and he was working, and he was a good lad, like, he was a good fella. He deserved to be here. He was a credit to the community. He wasn't from here, but it was just healthy immigration. But even he told me that there's a problem in Africa with the likes of a Boko Haram and the radicalism. And this is, they do hate the West. They hate the West. They hate the democracy. I came here for democracy, and I don't want this democracy to fall. So you need to know that there's good people everywhere, and there's bad Irish people, but we don't want to allow criminals to come into our country. We've got enough of them of our own. Why are we importing more? So the only way you stop this here is keep advocating for a vetting process. Keep advocating to keep the Constitution as it is. Advocate for a cap on refugees and asylum seekers. Put the pressure on the likes of the hotels that are housing these, that are taking the state money, because that's where you're going to win. You're going to lose if you target these people with violence, the bad ones with violence, because they're going to put your face all over the newspaper. And in the process of you targeting people, you could get somebody that's innocent, that's not connected to these. And it's the same goes with the religious groups. Islam. There's many Muslims that are beautiful people that don't deserve to be targeted. But there's many of them that have got radical ideologies that want to destroy our democracy. There's no getting away from that now. So don't become tribal with this. That's my biggest fear. That's day one. That's my first live stream on this channel. I used to do live streams on my other channel. I'm using a new software, so if it's been a wee bit unprofessional, apologies about that. It'll be different the next time. I'm using, if anybody's watching this and you pay for StreamYard, Rumble has their own streaming software now. It's totally 100% free. That's what I'm using today. If you can give me a bit of feedback in the comment section, not just the live chat, in the comment section about how this live stream went. Apologies about the start. I fucked it up. I'm not gonna lie to you, I fucked it up. So apologies about that. But it'll get better as it goes on. I'm going to start using this. This is free, and anybody that does live streams, use the Rumble Studio. You can download it on your phone. You can use it as an app or on the web browser. So it has the exact same as StreamYard, except it's all free. So there you go. I don't even know how to end this live stream here. I'm going to sit here for about 3 minutes trying to end it. But guys, Drogheda says no. What do you think about that? I agree with Drogheda. Drogheda's put their foot down. There wasn't 10 people there was thousands of people. Drogheda says no. Dublin says no. The big cities in Ireland says no. Ireland says no.